Need a lift?
The voyage north is long, and you discover an intense dislike of the sea, as you find yourself repeatedly clutching the ship's railing and spewing out various meals into the waves. As the voyage continues, the air also grows colder, as settlements and cities along the coast become fewer and far between. By the time the captain tells you that your destination is near, you have already started counting how many seconds it takes for your puke to freeze against the hull of the ship. Looking up from the railing, though, you see a dark shape looming through the blowing snow, and something about it that has nothing to do with the cold causes you to shiver.
I see the prison inspector has caught your eye. Best hope you don't find yourself going there any time soon, unless you have business.
What is that place?
It's called Rivel's End, in Harp's name if ever there was one, as I've not known anywhere bleaker or more devoid of joy. There is a prison built to hold the worst criminals that mankind has to offer. Whether the sorry souls stuck in there deserve it or not, well, I can't say.
Again, prisons. How is it that humans are so taken with prisons, cells, and confining each other? It's unsettling.
Why build something like that all the way out here?
Well, the nice and fancy folk don't want no reminders of the dirty and dangerous people that they've locked up. So they put them as far from civilization as you can imagine. Care Dinnerval notwithstanding.
How much farther until port?
Not much farther at all. See, there's our harbour. Just keep heading along that there path and you'll find your way to Care Dinnerval. Not much of a place for southerners, between the cold and the rough company, but you'll find shelter from the blizzards, and food. Good luck, wherever your journey takes you.
Oh, what a miserable place.
How are you cold? I can hear you shivering. That doesn't make sense. I'm the one who has to walk through this.
Oh, maybe because I am not simply a passive observer, and I'm actually sharing your body. How many times must I explain this?
Right, but shivering? Thought you needed your own body for that.
Never mind. Why would anyone choose to live in such a dismal part of the world?
Judging by what the captain said along the way, people who either don't want to be found or have nowhere else to go.
Lovely. Well, if we are to keep our visit as brief as possible, I would suggest finding the nearest bartender or such who might have heard rumors of a giant.
Haven't seen you around before. What do you want?
Friendly.
Have you heard anything about a storm giant in the area? I'm looking for one that's supposed to live nearby.
Storm giant? That ain't like a frost giant? Or do you mean a stone giant? Because we got plenty of those up on our spine. I sometimes wander this way to hunt and raid.
No, I mean storm giant.
Then I've got nothing for you. Though you could always ask Kelly, your goat kicker. She's been around a fair amount, one of those adventurer types, always looking for mercenary work and places to explore. You can usually find her down by the lakeside docks.
What can you tell me about this town?
Other than it being a hive of scum and villainy, you got the castle up the hill, the lake we fish knucklehead trout out of when it's not frozen over, and that's about it. All that's left after the rest of 10 towns after the incident some years back. Even the rogues of the world don't want to stay here if they can help it.
What incident?
Great white dragon came through. His breath was so cold, it froze the sap in the trees so hard the wood exploded. Shattered people as they tried to flee. Took a band of adventurers hired from Columnshan to finally kill the thing. But by the time they did, 10 towns was in ruins. Everyone just congregated here in the end, since Caer Dineval had the least damage, though that's not saying much.
Have you had any disappearances around here? Strange sightings? Anything?
It's Icewind Dale. People go missing in the storms all the time, and monsters come down from the mountains and the tundra every day. Still, if you mean anything outside of that, no. Can't say as I've heard anything. People who get lost in the storms are either found within a week, alive, or turned into a walker. And the monsters are the same as ever. Then again, I did hear that something's been going on with the dwarves up in, Kelvin's Cairn. Lots of rumors and stories coming from them, though I don't think they've had any misfortune themselves. Just heard things through the grapevine.
So long.
Seriously? You're not even gonna buy a meal or a room? Ugh, wasting my time.
Are you Helia?
And who wants to know?
My name is Katra, and I'm looking for a storm giant that's supposed to live in the Dale. Have you heard of anything like that?
Storm giant. Well, I'd be lying if I said I knew exactly what you're on about, but well, my partner and I did see something right queer in the mountains about a month back, and it was definitely giant and definitely stormy at the time.
Any details you can give me?
Hi, there's a trail on the opposite side of this lake, right across from us. That goes up into the mountains, as called the Spine. A blizzard started blowing around one of the peaks in particular, just a few years before I showed up here. Never let up once, nor moved. Storm just sits there, blowing away. My partner and I, we thought we'd go see if anything were up that way. Thought maybe we'd find some magic item or a wizard or something causing the storm. Maybe knock some sense into them or get some loot from the expedition.
You seriously risked life and limb thinking that there would be treasure there just because a storm had started?
Even if we found no goodies, we might have been able to see what was causing it. Maybe get the town's mayor to pay us for the information or something.
And what does this have to do with the giant?
I'm getting there. So, after about an hour marching through the storm, we hear this voice in the blizzard saying, "Turn back and you'll die here," and some such. We weren't about to pack it in though. Thing is, the snow was getting so thick and high around us, we could hardly even walk and it was getting dark. We tried to find shelter, but just kept getting turned around in the storm and we were getting right cold. Cold to the point you don't feel no cold no more. It wasn't until I hit the ground and everything started going black that I realized I was freezing to death. But then, next thing I know, I'm awake. My toes and fingers hurt something fierce from the frostbite, and my whole body was stiff, but there I was, lying next to my partner. We'd been taken all the way down the mountain to a little cave, and someone had even set up a fire for us. But here's the kicker. There weren't no footprints around us. Nothing in the snow. 'Twere the wildest thing I ever seen, and I still ain't been able to figure it out.
You said like a mum. You mean the face was a woman's?
Oh, aye, far as I could tell. Real flat. Smash nose. Though, but I was about delirious from the cold, so don't take that part of the story too seriously.
Where's your partner now?
Mickle. Oh, the cowardly bum had enough of adventuring after that incident. He's working as a miner up in Kelvin's Khan, with a bunch of our kinsmen now.
She seems sincere about this story, at least for the most part. A few embellishments here and there, but the core of it and many of the details ring true to your ear.
Any advice for someone looking to climb up there?
Yeah! Don't do it. It was a dark idea, and by all rights, me and my partner should be dead. Might not be such a trial normally, but that blizzard will spell the end of you.
Thank you for your time.
Well, that is at least a little promising. What say you, Katra?
It's the only lead we've got at the moment, so it's probably worth investigating.
After a dragon destroyed most of what was known as 10 towns, Caer Dineval's residents built this castle as a last protection, in case such a disaster should come again. It is not nearly large enough to fit the entire town's population, but it does make for a tidy and secure residence for the local lord and his family. Here, crystals grow in abundance, sprouting from and covering the cave's walls like lichen. Most of these crystals have also been found to have magical properties, most notably enhancing spells that freeze their targets. However, the crystals have proven too unstable to use reliably and have been known to shatter or even explode during spellcasting, so few risk using them. This foreboding cavern was once home to the dragon that destroyed 10 towns. It had carved its lair from the mountainside with its terrible claws, rending stone and ice like so much putty. After the dragon was killed, the place was looted of every scrap of treasure, then abandoned. Now it stands on the horizon as a grim reminder of Caer Dineval's past and the fate its sister towns suffered.
should warn you, in case you did not already know, dragons and giants have a long-standing rivalry that verges on hatred, depending on the parties involved. Storm giants are known as goodly, if stern, creatures, but regardless of this one's disposition, it might be for the best if you do not mention my presence or involvement.
Something else to complicate things. That's good to know. Thanks.
Icewind Dale is a barren and cold place, with its forests few and far between. That makes wood a precious and much-needed resource, both for building and for keeping the fires going in people's homes. Nearly every scrap of wood that enters Katra and Vaer goes through this mill to be processed, and one would not even find a shred of sawdust going to waste.
This storm will be the end.
Where are you?
Leave this place.
I just want to talk!
Shall not proceed! You tread a dangerous path, human. If you have come to rob or hunt me, then I hope that you have made peace with yourself.
That, Katra, is a storm giant, and one who has ascended beyond the restrictions of their body, it seems. They aren't just controlling the storm around us. They are the storm. It is a part of them. Be careful.
Speak now and tell me your purpose in coming here, lest I blast you off the side of the mountain.
This is not someone you should bandy words with. If you do not get to the point quickly, and if she does not like what she hears, the best you could hope for is being thrown from the mountain and maybe landing in a deep snowbank somewhere.
Do you know a druid named Myaston Kimmerin?
No. Should I?
I think you do know them, and I need help, and I think that either you or he can give it to me.
I am listening.
My friend has been infested with a parasite that has also displaced his soul. We were told by the Sage of Magic at Candlekeep that his best hope is to find the Rod of Alignment, which was last seen with Kimmerin.
And what if I refuse to help? What will you do?
I could ask really nicely? I mean, I'll beg if you want me to, but that feels a bit degrading.
No, there is no need to go that far. Perhaps I can find it in myself to compromise, though. This is a powerful item that you seek, and not something to be handed over lightly. Though perhaps you will do. Very well. I indeed possess the rod, and am willing to part with it in return for a favor. The druid who last held the rod is indeed a friend of mine. Kimmerin, however, has a tendency to use force to protect the wilderness and its creatures, rather than negotiate. The Lord's Alliance decided that they had suffered his vigilantism long enough, and have imprisoned him in the great fortress they built nearby, known as Revel's End. I cannot enter that bastion, as its magic wards me away. If you want the rod, then you must find a way to free Kimmerin. Once he is with me again, the rod will be yours.
What has he done to get imprisoned exactly?
He defends the wild places of Faerun. Anywhere that wildlife and nature are threatened, he goes to protect it and eliminate the threat. Sometimes that means destroying a band of marauding orcs. Sometimes that means destroying a duke's mining operation.
What is the Lord's Alliance?
Even I, in my isolation, know what it is. The Alliance is an agreement between various rulers and their lands, most notably those of Neverwinter, Waterdeep, and Silvery Moon on the Sword Coast. They were founded as an act of solidarity to keep the armies of evil at bay, and thereby protect the common folk. Coincidentally enough, protecting the common folk also protects these rulers' power and other interests.
She is used to keeping her own counsel, and it seems that leaving you in the dark is to her advantage, as you can read nothing on her face.
Will Kimmerin be dangerous to me?
Only if you give him reason to think that you mean harm to either him or the wilderness. Otherwise, he is quite personable.
A prison break to set free a dangerous environmentalist vigilante? Count me in.
Well then, perhaps Kimmerin has found a kindred spirit in you. A last warning to you. Beware the prison, for it is not just a trapped and warded fortress. Something has changed lately. I have not seen the guards at their outposts for nearly a week, and there is now a ferocious flying creature there. Every time I've tried to approach since its appearance, it has beaten me back, rather severely at one point. I do not know if the jailers have summoned it as an additional guardian, or whether it is there for other reasons. But be wary of a dark creature with bat-like wings. Hope that you do not encounter it. Good luck.
That is all a rather tall order, and none of it too encouraging. At this point, the best we can do is probably to investigate the prison, see if we can identify some of its defenses and any gaps therein.
The Illithid, also known as Mind Flayers, once ruled vast empires across multiple worlds, conquering whole races and forcing them into service. Ships like this one were how the monsters traveled between the stars and across planes of existence. Be glad that this one is long since crashed and abandoned. Otherwise, its presence would foretell a coming calamity.
No sign of that creature that Nalkra warned us about. Can you discern anything noteworthy?
The place is rather quiet. Still, waiting for a few minutes, you do not see any guards, but do notice that the front door is wide open. Otherwise, though, you cannot see any apparent weaknesses.
Forcing our way in isn't going to be an option, I don't think.
No, I think you are quite right about that. Perhaps we can strike a deal with whoever runs the prison. Barring that, simply seeing the inside might give us some ideas about how to get Kimmerin out. Still no guards? You would think that someone would have stopped or questioned us by now. I do not like the feel of this. Make sure that the front door stays open and unlocked, too. I do not wish to be trapped in here. See what you can find through that hole. There might be another passage or something similar. Something to lead us out of here. That looks like it connects to the door in the entryway, and judging by these notes, most of the rest of the prison, too. It seems to be a full containment and lockdown system. everything is barred and sealed. Perhaps there's been a prison riot or some revolt? Messy as that may be, it could provide a good distraction for getting inside and extracting Kimmerin. There. Now let us get back into the open and hope that we have not released all of the prisoners or endangered the guards. That would...
What was that?
Oh, what are these things?
Demons! What are demons doing in a prison? Devils and now demons. Encountering both in such a relatively short time is seldom a good sign. Either you are cursed with rotten luck or something is brewing. Unless Revel's End is taken to enlisting monsters from the Abyss as guards, something has gone thoroughly awry. This is becoming increasingly distressing.
What is the Abyss exactly?
It is one of the lower planes, a seething pit of madness, rage, and destruction. Its endless layers are populated with demons of all shapes and forms, varying in intellect and cunning, but uniform in their desire to wreak chaos and kill. The Abyss is reckless, thoughtless evil made manifest.
How worried should I be about this?
Very. If there are this many demons in one room, then there are likely to be others. They were likely summoned and then broke free from their summoner. If the summoner was particularly careless, they may have left a portal open, through which more demons and demonic spirits could enter our world. Unfortunately, I think that the lockdown we just lifted may have been the only thing keeping them here in the prison.
Do you think that Kimmerin has anything to do with them being here?
I doubt it, unless Kimmerin were presented with a too tempting opportunity, was consumed by vengeance, or had simply gone mad. He would not risk summoning demons. They would do as much damage to his precious wilderness as any human host would, polluting and tainting the land with their very presence.
How likely is it that the prison's keepers have summoned these things?
Unlikely. The Lord's Alliance may be only as good as their interests allow, or as benefits them, but they are intelligent enough to know that summoning demons for help is an often counterproductive and deadly proposition. They would forbid such practices within their institutions, including this one.
Any advice going into this?
Yes. Don't die, and get out as quickly as you can.
Helpful.
As we go, look for evidence of a cult like the one we found near Candlekeep. If we find who or whatever created the portal, we may in turn discover a way to collapse it. Those must have been the guards. Either there is a spellcaster nearby animating them, or they've been possessed by demonic spirits. I do not see evidence of the warden, nor anyone else. He likely took the keys with him, but you might still want to search this room. See what you can find.
You find a journal bound in plain, cheap leather. Pulling aside a loose brick in the wall, you find a lockbox tucked into the empty space. Lacking a key, you can either try to pick the lock with your meager tools or try to bust it open. It takes a few minutes, but you are eventually rewarded with that oh-so-satisfying click as the latch pops open. Within, you find a small potion. Looks like the warden was preparing for the worst. Maybe a prison break.
That looks like it was probably the warden. Their body is no longer their own. No choice, no movement, not commanded by something else. A puppet. Nothing to be done, no helping them, nothing. Have to break him. That is all. Just break what is left. Break the shell. Break the puppet, and it will be over. There. There. It is done. Good work.
Are you okay? You sounded a little lost for a while there.
I am fine now.
But that was distracting. If you're going to freak out, then do it quietly. Your blabbering could have gotten me killed.
Right.
Sorry. That was uncalled for. I know this is disturbing for you. I'm just stressed after fighting that thing.
I understand. I will try to control myself better in the future.
That seemed to really affect you. Do you want to talk about what just happened?
There is nothing to discuss. We must continue. Keys. Find the keys.
You sift through the shards of bone and scraps of torn clothes and armor until you hear a jangle. You retrieve a ring of keys, each of which is inscribed with runes and magic formulae. You would never have opened the cells without these.
Oh, the jingling of keys. Now that is a welcome sound. Certainly better than listening to screaming demons, anyhow. And who might you be? I see no uniform. You don't look like a demon to me.
My name's Katra. I'm here to get you out.
Are you now? Well, that's nice, but I find it hard to believe. Still, very well. My name is Mayastan Kimmerin. What do you want with me exactly?
Nalkra sent me to free you.
Oh, finally. She said she would figure something out, but I'd given up on her once the demons appeared.
What happened here? Why are there demons and where are the guards?
How much information do you think I can get while locked up in a stationary cell? Well, a fair amount, actually. About a week ago, there was an alarm. Like, if there'd been a prison break. But everyone was running toward the bottom level, and someone shouted about a portal or something like that. Almost none of those guards came back. And those who did were being chased by all of the lovely creatures you've encountered here yourself. My best guess is someone opened a portal to the abyss, lost control, and was subsequently killed. Judging by the state of this place, it seems likely that the portal's still open too. As for the other guards, well, I wouldn't think about it too hard if I were you.
Will these keys get you out?
Why, yes, they will! Glad to see someone thinking ahead. That being said, I won't be going anywhere while that portal's still open, so you'll have to go find my magic focus, too.
That wasn't part of the deal. I'm just here to get you out, and if I go even deeper into danger, then there's a good chance I won't come back alive to bring you outside.
Call it an addendum to your deal, then. Look, even if you let me out right now, I haven't eaten in nearly a week. No guards to feed me, remember? I've only had the little water I could get from the snow on my windowsill, so I'll be useless without my magic. Also, I refuse to leave a portal into the abyss open like a welcome mat to the material plane. Left alone, this thing could let through something truly horrific. Maybe someone would be able to take care of it eventually, but not before demons laid waste to forests and cities alike. Neither of us want that.
And what if I force you to come back with me to the Storm Giant?
Then I would be fighting you, kicking and screaming the whole way. Probably get a lot of attention from monsters and bandits that way. Doubt Nalkra would be happy with you either.
Where would I find your focus?
There's a lockup somewhere for inmates' possessions. Get the warden's keys, and you should be able to open whatever box or closet you can find.
How did the portal open in the first place?
I haven't the faintest. Perhaps one of the guards was secretly a demon worshiper and agreed to let his friends in. Maybe someone just got careless with some other ritual, or were tricked into enacting the wrong one. Maybe someone sneaked in. Trust me, I've been scratching my head over this since it all started.
How are you and some of the other prisoners still alive? Wouldn't the demons have torn you apart by now?
Oh, trust me, they've tried. Multiple times. However, these cells are reinforced magically on the outside, and have constantly active anti-magic fields on the inside. Demons cannot teleport in, or shoot fire, or whatever at us, nor can they rip the doors off. Ironically enough, these cells are the safest places in the entire building, so far as I can tell. It'd be relaxing if I didn't have to listen to the occasional blood-curdling, inhuman shriek echoing through the halls.
Can you actually close the portal?
Oh, I should be able to. Even if I haven't been able to cast them, I could still prepare spells while locked up in here. Had a few things that could work at the ready just in case I ever got the chance. That being said, I'm starved and weak as a kitten, so I'll still need you to clear the way and take care of whatever's hanging around the portal before I'll risk exposing myself. I'm our only chance of nipping this crisis in the bud, after all.
I'll be back soon.
Okay, I'll be here.
Hey, Vaer? We haven't been using your magic site as much, but I haven't seen any evidence of a cult or any other religious or magical activity aside from what's needed to keep this place running.
Oh, yes, strange.
Vaer?
Just get us out of this prison.
my focus. Excellent. Have you cleared the path to the portal?
All of the demons have been killed.
Oh, you even took care of that big, bat-like thing? That one looked particularly menacing. If I'm being entirely honest, I nearly peed myself when it stopped by to try to get into my cell.
No, I think I missed that one.
Oh...
Nokra mentioned some sort of flying monster before we came, but we haven't seen it yet. Do you think it's still here?
Oh yes, I saw it just yesterday. If it hadn't flown off by then, something must be keeping it here. My guess is it's feeding off whatever energy's coming out of the portal. Or perhaps the lesser demons coming through, treating the portal like a fishing hole. Well, if that thing's still hanging around, then it will probably rip me to shreds the moment I try to seal the portal. I'll find a place to hide, or maybe just stay in this cozy and very safe cell until it's dead or driven off. Once you've done that, I'll close the portal and we can get out of this place. I would guess it probably perches somewhere up high. Might want to start searching the upper levels. As much as your presence brightens up this place, I'd really rather be out of here. Hurry it up!
I've never actually been up quite this high. Is this what it's like for you? Viewing the world from above while flying? Everything spread out so endlessly.
It was.
Any chance those specks are dangerous or harming anything in the area?
What a lucky day this is. The two souls have come to be packaged into the same body. I was getting hungry.
It can sense me?
And hear you. Yes, I must say that it is a delight to encounter a soul as rich and potent as yours, noble worm. I cannot say that in all of my centuries I have ever consumed any of your kind who are older than mere adolescents. Young and tender, yes. But their souls do not have the potency that yours does. And all of this without contending with your fiery breath or iron-hard scales. Oh, you are most generous in coming here so exposed.
The monster seems to be almost shivering in anticipation as it flexes its claws and bares its teeth. You get the sense that you might only have time for one question before the thing's patience runs out.
Who or what are you?
I am Karlak, Nabasu, and rabid dog of my master. He will not even keep him near, lest I begin killing and consuming the souls of his other minions. But such is my nature. I cannot help but hunt and savor the screams as a creature's essence is removed from the universe. Speaking of which, I believe one of my patience for pleasantries has reached its limit. Luckily for you, you will not have to face your deity's judgment when I am done with you. Death will be the true end. Once I devour your souls, not even a shred of you shall remain in this universe. destroy my body here. I was simply reformed in the abyss. And when I do, and when my master carves a path into this world, nothing will stop me from hunting you down. Your souls will be mine in the end.
Well, that just happened. Let's head back to Kimmerin.
Oh, well, that was downright unsettling. Still, the deed is done. However, I fear that what magic I could work here today was limited and will only be a temporary solution. Once I have some rest, though, I can return and enact something more permanent.
Could you use the Rod of Alignment to keep the portal shut? Put things back the way they're supposed to be.
That is a good idea, but I do not know how to say this any more clearly than to say that the portal being open is how things are supposed to be. It seemed to have opened on its own, naturally. I've heard of such phenomena, but never seen it. I suppose we just got unlucky. Using the rod, though, would just reopen the rift, I'm afraid. Nothing can ever be easy, can it?
What about the other people still in the prison? It will be some time before more guards appear to help them.
Oh, I plan to free them all. I cannot abide by anything being trapped against its will. If these prisoners prove to still be dangerous to others, though, well, then it will be my responsibility to find and eliminate them. Lots of work if that happens, but I'll manage.
If they hurt people after you let them out, then you'll be just as responsible for any damage they do.
True, but I cannot punish someone for a crime they haven't committed yet. I'll just have to wait and see.
How can you trust them to not do whatever it was that put them in here to begin with?
Hopefully, they've learned from their mistakes by now. That being said, I will also make it very clear what will happen if they cause too much trouble.
What about the crimes that they have already committed? They haven't finished their sentences.
Not my problem, and I don't really care about such strict laws. Way I see it, just being stuck in here was punishment enough. If they break the rules again, though, then someone will put them down. Might be me, it might be someone else.
Are you ready to go back to Nalkra now?
Oh, once I've had a bite to eat, sure. There must be something around here that hasn't rotted or been gnawed on by demons. As soon as I'm rested, though, I'll turn into an air elemental or a snowy owl. Something. Fly to Nalkra's cave. I'll be there long before you.
Stay safe, then. Would have hated to go to all this trouble just for you to get eaten by a crag cat or something on the way back.
Yeah, well, the benefit of being a druid is that I can always turn into one of them if they try. Maybe insult their mother to get them to back off. You wouldn't guess it, but they're surprisingly touchy about their mom's crag cats. Never you worry. I'll see you there.
Once a military outpost, this fortress was built by the Lords of Waterdeep to protect the prison of Revel's End, as well as the neighbouring 10 towns. The soldiers there performed their duty well, but were unprepared when the dragon appeared and latched onto the side of the tower. The beast unleashed its freezing breath into the building again and again, until everyone and everything inside had been turned to blocks of ice. Now, with no 10 towns to defend, and soldiers afraid to house there for fear of their comrades' ghosts, the outpost stands abandoned.
You have returned. Good. I can now say to your face that I do not enjoy being deceived, dragon.
I was afraid of this. Be careful.
How did you find out?
I did a bit of divination while we were waiting for you. I had to make sure that the Rod of Alignment was going to someone trustworthy. Or, well, You withheld pretty important information, so maybe not someone trustworthy, so much as not going to turn the rod toward destruction or the undoing of everything good in our world. We figured out what you would want the rod for, and personally, I fully support your desire to return to your natural form, especially if it means unearthing whatever your attackers are planning.
And what about after the dragon is returned to its form? Can we trust them with it then?
I'd hope so. If not, though, we can always take it back. Either way, can't condemn someone for something they haven't done yet, right? Give it to them with my blessing.
Fine. But if you can hear me, dragon, I do this not for your sake. I do it for the child. They do not deserve to have their thoughts constantly invaded and should be able to live their life without someone constantly whispering in their ear. A person's mind is meant to be their refuge and safe haven, even when nowhere else is. Besides, there is something about you, child. A sense of impending significance, for lack of a better term. I have been in this world long enough to trust my intuition, and it tells me to keep an eye on you. Regardless of what happens to the dragon, I will be curious to know your doings. Now go, hunt your quarry. And remember that the rod is not all-powerful. You must weaken your target first if it is a living thing. You have a battle ahead.
Any idea where we might find the creatures that stole Vaer's body?
I tried scrying them too, but their lair seems to be protected from such spying. Sorry.
I may have an idea, though.
We'll take any advice you can offer.
Speak with the dwarves of Kelvin's Cairn. I have overheard their conversations whilst traveling as a storm. They speak of their kin in Mithril Hall facing a mysterious crisis, though I could not learn any details. Still, their troubles and yours could be related. If so, they may provide direction and help against a common foe.
It is as good a start as any. These foes are unnatural to our world, so they are bound to make disturbances that we might be able to follow.
Well, it's a start at least. Thank you both for your help.
Happy hunting!
A stranger? Welcome to Kelvin's Cairn, true home of the legendary Brunner Battlehammer himself. And who might you be?
My name is Katra, and I'm looking for a group of people and monsters. Have you heard anything about anyone working with chalky-skinned creatures that have bones and spines poking out of their flesh? Maybe a wizard in a mask?
Don't know about any wizard and haven't seen any monsters like that about, but we have had some tales from our kin down south in Mithril Hall. Just rumors, mind you. Before the trading caravans from our cousins stopped coming due to the blizzards, they had some stranger things to say. They were all over the place with the tales, but the consistencies between them told how civilians were losing their minds. There's been sabotage, murder, and people just up and disappearing, or trying to go into the deeper caves where they had no business being. Oh, and some people had talked about glimpsing a new small folk, they think, down in the Underdark. Just saw small, pale, white humanoids with grinning teeth and yellow eyes.
At the risk of jumping to conclusions, that sounds at least similar to what you witnessed in your home. Not to mention that the small folks she mentioned sound like the star-spawn grue we have encountered.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a look at least. Thank you for the information. We'll get out of your hair and...
Boss, we're under attack! Some creepy pale things with spikes coming out of them! They're swarming our guard posts!
Friends of yours?
You could say something like that.
They must have finally tracked us down. I knew they would eventually come for my soul as well as my body.
How many are there, and how didn't we see them coming? The scouts asleep?
The scouts didn't even have a chance to see them! The things just appeared right in the tunnels, behind one of our sentry posts! I think something teleported them here!
Get the workers and civilians into the deeper tunnels, and call up the rest of the garrison. You follow them to the shelters until this is cleared up.
I think they might be here for me. It's only right if I help repel them.
Your funeral, kid. Follow me.
They're after a human!
Oh, I think that's all of them.
Indeed, but we have not seen the star spawn anywhere else in the Dale. If they were transported specifically here, that implies that they were coming for us.
How do you figure? They could have attacked us any time.
Maybe not. No one saw you in my cave when the cultists attacked me. It could be that they did not know who had my soul after losing the coin that held it. If they had known that you carried my soul, then that wizard in the mask would have either killed or captured you to take it back when he found us in Wizard Adro's tower.
So they've somehow figured it out since then, and have some way to find or at least track us.
That would seem to be the case. We should leave. If more pursue us, I do not want innocents caught in the fighting.
Vaer? That actually sounded rather generous and thoughtful. Downright altruistic, actually.
Just get us to Mithril Hall quickly. If we stay in one spot too long, it will make it all the easier for the enemy to attack us. We do not know what their capabilities are. For all we know, this invasion was either the entirety of their force, or but a tiny fraction of their army.
Good point. Yeah, we should go.